understand that that's what a statesman does. They do what they feel that they are called to do for the betterment of their country, regardless of what it means to them personally. Now, some of the best examples of statesmen are our founding fathers. They put everything on the line, including their lives and the lives of some of their family members. That if they lost that Revolutionary War, we wouldn't be talking about the founding fathers. We'd be talking about traitors who were hung. Traitors to the crown. And had their wealth stripped from them and their family. And it wouldn't have been distributed to the masses or to the public, as some people like to think. Oh, hell no. It would have gone to the treasury, the king, and he, in his benevolence, would have disseminated some of that wealth to some of his loyalists that were governors and other rulers. Yeah, you could say the king had a cabinet. You know, they were the governors and lords and stuff like that. And he would have disseminated some of that wealth to them. Most likely in the form of not money or gold, but most likely in the form of land holdings. Now, you got to understand, Donald is putting a lot aside to do this. That's kind of impressive. Dr. Carson is putting a lot aside to do this. That's impressive. Carly Fiorina is putting a lot aside to do this. They're not politicians. For the vast majority of the rest of them, they're politicians, and they currently or recently made the bulk of their income from government. Think about that. Think about that. And then maybe some of your questions about, what their ultimate, ambition is might go away. But I know everybody's talking about illegal immigration, and that has a huge impact on our economy. There are some positives to it. I'm not going to deny that. Look, you can come to me. I'm always going to tell you what I know is the truth. And there are some positives to illegal immigration. But it is far outweighed, by far, humongous. It's outweighed by the negative. So the whole notion of sending people back from whence they came would be a boon to the economy of the United States, would be a boon to the citizenry, legal citizenry, and legal residency of this country. Now, I know a lot of people are talking about, well, we got to build a fence. I agree. Fence or wall, got to do it. I know Jorge Ramos is totally against that. He's totally against, he tried to interrupt the Donald, and I don't have cuts of this. And that's something that I will probably start doing a lot more of later, is actually getting cuts of stuff, important stuff, so you can hear it from their mouths. But you can find it. I'll even post links on the website, rodeccles.net, shameless plug. He wasn't asking a question. He's not a journalist. He was making a statement. And one of the statements, if you did in that original first exchange between him and Trump, understand that he said, he was talking about 11 million illegals. You can't send them back. Now, here's the issue. Here's the real issue. It isn't about the fence or open borders. Because I've heard Ramos talk about, well, you can't, you just can't build a fence down there because, you got a 5,000-mile border with Canada up there you're not going to build a fence on. Here's the issue. That brings to light the perfect reason why we need to change our socialist-leaning style of government. Those people south of our border are coming across for two reasons. One, for opportunity, economic opportunity. In other words, trying to get a job, and they heard the streets are paved with gold, all that kind of stuff. And two, because they know that our government will take care of them in some way or some form. They're not getting taken care of back in their home country. Because in many of their home countries, there is no socialistic type of government handouts. Or if there is, it's so minute that these people can't survive on it. But they know that if they work the system here, they can survive even if they cannot find work. Now, understand the reason why we do not have a flood of illegal immigrants coming from Canada is because Canada is a solid economic nation. Yeah, and they're pretty much socialistic up there as well in a number of different areas. But Canadians, they don't need to cross the border to get taken care of. They have plenty of opportunity in their own country. And as a matter of fact, if you look at the Canadians that quote unquote flood across the border, they come here legally with a green card so they can get into the entertainment business. You won't believe how many Canadian citizens are in the United States that are in the entertainment business. You'd probably be surprised by the number of current stars. Whether it be acting or music or stage or what have you. You'd probably be surprised how many of them are actually Canadian citizens. Even many, quite a few of our news anchors. I do believe Peter Jennings was also a Canadian. So they're coming across for other opportunities that they don't have up there. I mean, obviously they don't have a Hollywood, and there's only like 35 million people up there, so they're not going to be able to make such a huge impact in the entertainment industry up there as they are down here. That's why they come. To seek an opportunity that they don't possibly have up there. It's not to say that, there aren't Canadian stars in Canada, because there are. Well, Celine Dion is a huge one, and she's made most of her money from the States. But if we take care of and eliminate this social style type of welfare system, they wouldn't be flooding across our southern border. We wouldn't necessarily have to deport them like the Donald wants to do. And Jorge Ramos's argument that, we can't afford to send them all back, they'd leave on their own. But because we keep providing them with things that they cannot get, other than opportunity, that they cannot get in their home country, they're going to keep coming. They're going to keep coming. And it is because simply, and liberals, don't doubt me on this, they fully understand this. Why do you think that these people are fighting so hard to stay? Is it because they just want to have opportunity and get a job and work their way up the ladder? The economic ladder? No, because they know that if they come here and they can't take advantage of the capitalistic opportunity, that they still will be able to eke out a living. Something that they cannot do in their home country. But if you get rid of that, you will get rid of a bulk of the illegals, and they'll willingly go back. The problem is, how will they go back? They'll most likely try to sneak back across, and you'll have to, will the Mexican government and policia accept them? Evidently not, when you consider what the Mexican government has said quite often to the United States. Mexico's told us we can't build a border. Yeah, you can't build that. You can't build a border fence. And in a way, they do encourage their poor population to go north. They do. The Mexican government does. That is also a fact. And it's a fact because the Mexican government understands our socialistic welfare state. And as long as they can get the people that cannot take care of themselves within the Mexican opportunity, and if they can get them to leave the country and go north, there won't be any pressure on the Mexican government to provide those same types of services that the United States already offers. So if I were the Mexican government, I would be encouraging them to go north as well. Wall or no wall. And trust me, just building the wall or the fence is not going to be enough to stop them, because I guarantee you that the Mexican government, through their military and police, national police, will try to find weak spots in the fence and exploit it so people can get through. We know for a fact that Mexican military and police have fired across the border at our border patrol, allowing Mexican citizens and others who made it through Mexico to cross our border. We know this to be true. Border agents tell us it's true. They back it up. So one of the things that we're going to have to start demanding that our politicians do is not only build a fence and get control of our border, but more importantly, start to dismantle this un-American socialistic style of governance. That's what really has to happen. And this is one of the things that the lamestream media really isn't allowing any of the candidates to really go beyond the illegal immigrant and what they're going to do with them. Because what we're going to do with them, Donald says, well, we'll just ship them all back. Well, Donald isn't a stupid man. He also understands that one of the ways that you get them to go back by themselves, so you don't have to go out and find them and deport them and pay to deport them, is one, you dismantle the socialistic style of government that we have. Get rid of the handouts. You clamp it down and say, well, the only people who should be getting anything from our government are citizens, not folks on green cards, not legal immigrants, only citizens. And then for those citizens, it shouldn't be a lifetime appointment on the government dole. Look, one of the things that we did back in the 90s, and Clinton signed on to this, Bill Clinton, was welfare reform. It moved millions of people off the government take and into the private sector, where they became contributing members of society, and most of them enjoyed it so much that they were upset at the downturn in the economy that caused them to lose their job. But a lot of them were used to, being on the government take. So it wasn't very difficult for them to fall back into that old notion of, and they weren't, embarrassed by it. People used to be embarrassed by food stamps and things like that. But these people are, today, most people are not embarrassed by it. They're not. And many of them, because they once were in the system, because of the downturn in the economy and because of President Obama's policies that now have some 95 plus million Americans without a job, are used to that. They did it before, or maybe their parents did it before, so they fully understand it. And until you encourage them by taking away or limiting their benefits, they're not going to move off of it. Now, I can tell you, if you had 90 million people jumping back into the workforce, getting or looking and getting jobs, or creating their own job, again, there would be a boon to this economy, and people would come here because they were looking to contribute.